Hello everyone, welcome back to the third episode of the 12-minute AI Game Development Challenge. In this series, I try to build a full game pretty much from scratch using the power of AI tools. And in this week's episode, we're going to build the game of Pong. However, we're going to do something quite different this time. I'm sure you must be hearing all about DeepSeek in the news nowadays. Based on the best practice that a lot of people have been talking about, DeepSeek is really good for doing the reasoning and the thinking and the planning, and Claude is still a little bit better when it comes to the actual coding implementation. So for this week, what we're going to be trying to do is that I will demonstrate and show you how I will use DeepSeek to create the game design, create an implementation plan, and then use Claude to build the entire game of Pong using the implementation plan. I actually use DeepSeek to refactor my entire code base into an entity component system architecture. It's called an ECS structure. It is a modern way for you to architect your system so that you can actually separate the concerns, right? It's probably too long a topic for this video. I will be doing a separate video that will go into a lot more detail about the starter project. I really hope that this episode will be interesting because it actually uses DeepSeek together with Claude to implement the game of Pong. A slightly more simpler game this time so that I can hopefully get it done within the 12 minutes. And if we have time, I would love to get the backend integrated as well. So without further ado, let's get started. We're ready to get started, but I'm going to do something differently this time. Open Composer, Ctrl-I. Let's switch this to DeepSeek R1. And we're going to make sure that you're using normal mode. You can't use agent mode with this. And what we'll be doing today is using it to populate the game design for me, as opposed to me defining it myself. And this is just to demonstrate a little bit about what DeepSeek does differently, say, compared to the other models. And then I will again use DeepSeek to create a plan for implementation, and then we'll implement it with Claude. So that's the plan for today. So what I'll state is that define a high-level game design for a simple clone of the game of Pong, one player versus AI, so not multiplayer Pong. And I'm going to say and define it in game design, which is the file I have open here. Concise and to the point, and I want it to use the existing structure. And the reason for doing this is that just to demonstrate what the DeepSeek model does, right? You can see this thinking step here where it does its reasoning, and that's the R in R1. And you can see that, it says, okay, the user wants me to help design a one-player Pong clone. And you can see it's actually following the instructions. It is looking at the game design documents structure that has been previously there. And then it follows the format, which is great. And what we're going to do now is just going to close Composer for a second so that we can spend a little bit more time here and just run through the game mechanics, right? So you can see single player versus AI, ball physics, constant base speed, 5% increase, great. AI scores when the ball passes the boundary, first to 11 point wins. We're probably going to change this slightly, but I'll talk about that later. Retro arcade style, UI elements, large score display top center, serve text after scores, game over screen. Great. So more or less it's correct. I'm going to make a few changes here because I want to change the scoring actually. So AI scores, player scores. Okay, so I'm going to change it to say game AI scores when the paddle hits the ball. And then I'm going to say player scores when the paddle hits the ball. And then I'll say round ends when the ball passes either boundary. Or maybe I'll say round ends when ball passes either boundary. And the other thing I want to do is look a little bit at the green screen. So start menu to the game scene. That's great. Ball served towards the player. Continuous play until score condition met. I'll say continuous play until ball passes either boundary, which is great. Ball reset to center, score game over screen on passing boundary. And then restart returns to refresh match. And then I'll also say the last one is that main menu button returns player to start menu. Cool. And then Supabase Integration looks right. So I think this is a good starting point. Anonymous guest authentication, high score tracking. Yep. High score tracking, 4 points obtained. And then based on, yeah. Okay, cool. And the last thing I'll probably want to say is UI elements, score, large score display top center, score for player, and score for AI shown. Let's say player also has best score ever shown. Cool. And I think that's pretty much it for the game design. We will be using DeepSeek to create an implementation plan based on this game design. I'm just going to restart this. So you remember DeepSeek, normal, and the clock starts now. All right, so what I'm going to say is that create a high-level plan in plan.md. Oh, I should actually create plan.md first. Okay, so plan.md, and hopefully this will allow me to do that. Cool. And then use the game design that we just created. Replace the existing code base base it on the existing code base in Pong and Pong source. And then remember the technical design. Cool. And then let's kick it off. And I just need to make sure that I've saved this. And what you're going to see now is that it's going to create an implementation plan for me. And I'm going to then use the implementation plan with Claude to actually implement the game. So, and that's the kind of like the pattern that people have been suggesting. So you use, DeepSeek to create the plan, and then use Claude to implement. You get better results apparently. So here it is again. You can see he's creating a high-level plan for implementing it based on an iterative manner, starting with basic functionality. So let's see what plan it comes up with. It is noting that I have an ECS structure. I already have grid movement and transform components, so that's the whole point. I wanted to reuse as much of the existing code that I have, which is an ECS-based system. The technical design this time is something that I'm not going to be talking about too much. Because it's a little bit more complicated, but the whole point is to create a bit more structure for the AI to be able to do that. Cool. All right, so it's got the plan now, and what I'm going to do is I'm pretty happy with the plan here. I trust it, but what we're going to do is that actually implement the plan now. So we're going to switch this to Claude, and what we're going to say is switch to agent mode, implement the plan in plan. .md, game design, just remind it, game design is in game design, technical design is in technical design, and finally the code base is in Pong source. And there we go, and off we go. Let's go. So how much time do we have? Okay, so just under 10 minutes left to actually implement the game of Pong based on like the plan that DeepSeek gave us. And we did a bit of analysis and of the code base. And DeepSeek was used to create a plan for us. So let's see how this fares. So let's just take this time while it's churning away with the code. So it's going to start off with creating the basic entities and the components and the system. So it's adhering to the ECS structure, which is great. It's going to create a basic scene, and then it's going to give some basic logic. So and then after that, it's going to do an AI and the ball scoring, win-lose conditions. And then finally, it's going to do session management and high score tracking. It sounds like a good plan. Let's see if we get to the polish and anything else later. But let's just see how things go. And so spend about a minute with this initial implementation. This is the longest step from my experience, is because it's actually creating all of the files that you would need, things they need. So it's created the paddle movement component here, as you can see, and it's adhered to the structure and the format that I usually use for my for the boilerplate. So so this is the moment of truth, right? It says here updating the game configuration to use a new scene, and usually this is the point where we can check the game on the right. And let's just take a quick look. Oh yes, we start to see. Okay, so it's actually replaced the entire main menu scene and gone straight into the Pong scene. So we kind of lost the menu flow, but that's fine. We can easily add that back in now. So it says that we have pedal, that moves up and down with WAS keys. Okay, that's fine. Game boundaries and center line. Okay, so that's great. So now we say implement 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2. Actually, let's just do 1 and 2 first. And then we can go. All right, cool. So just confirming again, right? We should see WNS, white pedal on the left side, dash center line, and black screen. So looks right so far based on that plan. So now it's gonna create the ball so that we can have the ball bouncing off the pedal. And then what is the next step it's gonna do is that it's gonna have the AI pedal and then a scoring system. So that's really good. Like, my goal is hoping that we can at least get to a basic AI, basic scoring system, and then ideally get to the backend side as well. But we'll see. So it's creating the AI pedal right now, and we'll see how this one fares. And I'm just gonna move this aside. Okay, I'm just accept all as things come through, and we can take this time to talk a little bit about what else is done here. So yeah, the ECS structure, probably save it for a different video to talk about. because it's quite complicated and probably takes a little bit more time than 12 minutes to run through. And let's see what's happening here with the Pong scene. So Pong scene is where most of the things are happening, big changes here, which is great. Let's accept that. And oh, nice. All right, so the ball is off. Okay, so he's implemented the ball. Ball appears in the center. After 1 second, the ball serves towards. Ball doesn't serve towards player, but everything else seems to be fine, right? Because like there's a delay between. Oh, it's just. Okay, so it's already discovered like there's a bug here. Serve method involved itself in is going in unexpected direction. So let's see if this works. So far so good. All right. Okay, it goes towards the. All right. Yes, we have the basics of Pong working. That's great. As you can see on the right hand side. Yep. Okay. All right. So okay. So it serves towards. Yeah, it really should serve towards the player first, I think. Because the AI doesn't seem to be ready to say. I'm going to say serve towards player first, make AI more challenging a little. More challenging a little. Yeah, that's not the best way of doing it. Okay, anyway, I should spend less time on this and then spend more time. Okay, it's actually pretty okay. It's reacting sufficiently well enough. It's just that it's a bit too easy now. But that's fine. Let's then think about what we're going to do next. Okay, we want to implement the scoring. Okay, implement the scoring system based on the number of times the paddle successfully hits the ball for player and separately for the AI. Cool. I didn't actually check what it did just before this, but oh, okay, it's gonna say oh, okay, so okay, cool. So here we go. There we go. Yep. So that's pretty cool. The AI is still not the most challenging. It's missing the ball quite frequently, but we can fix that later. Okay, let's go. And it says, okay, so what we should expect to see now is that initial serves towards the player in the first direction. We expect that, right? Okay, so it's saying that the AI should be a bit better, but it's still not doing the best, but we can fix that later. We want to do the scoring, and then we can always tweak the performance of the AI. I mean, it's fairly decent, as you can see, but for fast ones, oh, it's not the best. Oh, it's got the ball like trapped between its legs. Okay, so all right, good. All right, okay, so it's understood the scoring, which is different from the traditional Pong, right? So okay, I'm gonna say scores. Hits are not incrementing for either player or AI. And then what I want to do is that, oh, that's actually pretty tough, right? And then later we need to fix the AI, but that's pretty good. I mean, we've got 4 minutes to go, yeah, I'm actually just going to refresh the page and just take a look. So it does serve towards the player first. It does serve towards the player first. Okay, so the scores are incrementing now. That's great. And then, all right, so that's great. So I'm going to say show best ever number of hits. This would be the best score. All right, so we've got 3 minutes left. Okay, he's got 30 hits. That's crazy. That's not true, right? How did he get 30 hits? I didn't see it. Did he manage to hit 30 times? No, that's 31. I don't know how he got 30 hits. Okay, so that's fine. And then we would love to put back the main menu because that's kind of like gets the anonymous one. And I'm just going to jump into console mode for a second. Yep, so that's fine. I'm just make this a bit smaller. Second, make this a bit smaller, and then hopefully. Yeah, okay, that's bad. Okay, good. All right. Oh, that's that. Okay, so I don't know why the scoring for the AI is actually it's a bit wonky. Every time he hits it, then it's like suddenly gets a really high score. Okay, so cool. That's fine. Okay, then I'm gonna say game over should happen once ball passes either boundary, showing with a game over screen showing score. Yeah, and then chance to return to main menu. Cool. All right. So all right. The scoring is a little bit off, which is really strange. And actually, I wonder whether there is actually any point in having a best for the AI. Cool. So just under 2 minutes left. Let's see if we can fix up some of these things, right? So I just need the game loop to be different from the classic Pong. So that's usually where things get a little bit tricky, because if you're doing something that's different from the original game, there's a lot of assumptions that it probably has about how the game of Pong should be scoring and how the game of Pong should be doing things. So you see, he hits the pedal, and then like, I guess when he hits the top of the pedal, you have this like kind of like crazy calculation. But that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so he's trying to do the game changes. Okay, so far, okay, so that's how it got its high score. And the ball physics is like really crazy. Look at that. Okay, so so end the game. Okay, great. So let's oh, sorry. I accidentally did that. Yeah, I was planning to press accept, not submit. So let's see what's happening. Oh, okay, so you at least got the main menu now. Okay, cool. And then it's supposed to go back to the main menu. Okay, all right. So I'm going to say start with the main menu scene, going into Pong scene. Keep existing anonymous login functionality. Okay, that's probably the next thing I need to tell it to do. And okay, so got 30 seconds left, and okay, that's fine. It's done. This is gone. Okay, cool. So there's a main menu scene, and did it delete my main menu scene? No, there is one. Yeah, cool. And then okay, so 18 seconds left. So we actually managed to get to the the game of Pong. I really hope that with this last instruction, we will be able to actually utilize the existing infrastructure that I had for saving the scores. And then there's a bunch of like UI elements that were wrong, but I think it's fairly decent. So all right, time's up. Okay, so time's up. Let's take stock of this final instruction. Yeah, okay, so because it removed the game's main menu scene and the about scene and all that stuff previously. Okay, so it's added it back in, which is nice, because this is exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to actually utilize this existing authentication with anonymous authentication with Supabase. So let's see if this works. Cool, nice, that works. That was a terrible. Okay, cool. Let's go. All right. Let's try it again. All right, cool. So now that works. Okay, so all right, that's fine. And then let's do that, and let's just test this out a little bit more. Oh, okay, and maybe we should get the game to end now. Cool. All right, so best score for the player is 3. AI's best score is that, and I go back to main menu, go to high scores, and there's definitely some issue with the backend, I think. With the high score scene, maybe it's just not put in yet, but that's fine. I'm going to do logout. I'm going to play as guest again. So where we got to is that we managed to get the game of Pong working, and with a bit of dodgy physics, but it did get, it did require a bit of tweaking in terms of what we needed it to do, but it kind of got there, mostly there. And what I would like to do is actually take the time to get this integrated into the backend. So I'm just going to swap over to the backend here, because I suspect that it didn't actually register. Did it register the player? So let's see, games. So there is Pong, game session. So there is a Pong session with 35C, and is there a game session with 35C? Yep. Okay, so there's nothing created from today. That's fine. So yeah, I mean, that was well, okay. So anyway, just jumping back to this, we should take the time to actually fix up a few things. So what we are going to do is actually make sure that the game actually fixes a bunch of the UI. So let's restart this. Pong, and okay, good. All right, so the first thing we want to fix is that we don't need an AI best. Okay, so fix the following issues. No need for AI best. Best should yeah, okay, so best score. And then I noticed another issue, which is if I go back to the main menu and play Pong again, it doesn't actually start. So that's an issue. So after a game over, returning to menu and then starting the game doesn't starting and then pressing start game doesn't actually start the serve. Alright, so let's fix those two issues first. And then we can actually, I think one thing would be really nice to do is actually look at the code that it generated, and then take a bit of a study of like how the structure that the boilerplate that I had there actually helped it to either do better or do worse. So that's actually worth checking. So it seems that the game over system is working now. So let's check. That's fine. Cool. Miss it. Cool. He misses. If I do play again, it works now. All right. Cool. Yeah. I said it's for the main menu, but it should be the same. So great. That works now. And so the next thing to do is that we actually want this to actually make use of the authentication. We want to make sure that this is actually using the authentication. So the best way to do this is to actually look at this table here. And so what was my name? My name was Mighty Eagle Watcher. And I'm looking for Mighty Eagle Watcher. Yeah, okay, so Mighty Eagle Watcher, here it is. So UID is this. And let's see, so that's the ID. And then what I should say, I should find that session. So it's 2428, right? So it's 2428, and I should find a session 2428. So I noticed that the wait, so where is it? 2428. So yeah, so the session is not registering. So I will now have to fix this, and I probably should zoom in on this screen on the right. I'll make it a bit bigger in the future. Can I dock this? Can I dock this? No, I can't. Okay, let's try. So I'm going to say the scores are not being saved to the session. Oh, I'm just zooming here. To the session table on Supabase. Refer to let me see, what can I say? Game scene and technical design for how to utilize existing code in client to do this simply. Oh, alright, so I suspect it's not doing that anyway, because I don't see any Pong high scores, and this should at least be there. Template high scores is not right. Pong high scores, games, users. It could be, oh, and to be fair, like this is the first time I'm actually doing this. I did it for the template once, I think, and then I didn't really test it for like new games. So let's just see what happens here. So it's looking at the technical design, and this is what I meant when I said the technical design is a little bit more complicated now, because it actually specifies very deeply on how to utilize the the boilerplate code that I have. And let's see if it really works, right? So and in the game scene, so the boilerplate starter project that I start off with, there is a very simple kind of scoring system. Cool. So let's just see. Okay, I click submit again. This is terrible. Okay, cool. Oh, so let's go back here. All right, let's go back to the game here, and let's log out. Refresh the page just to be sure, and do play as guest. All right, so, oh, good. Okay, so now that's good because it is actually trying to submit the score. It says here, error submitting score, invalid input syntax for type, UUID Pong. Okay, so that is probably what's going on here. So I'm gonna actually copy this two things. So this is actually debugging it. The following error appears in console. Check my init, sorry, it should be Pong init and Pong reset. I always say the Pong init is more important to make sure it's correct. And also refer to init and init template. So the game template one should work for references. All right, let's see if this fixes it. All right, so player score, best score. Yeah, we're not too concerned. Maybe we can actually store the player score. So the unfortunate thing about this game design that I've done is that because I wanted it to be something where you didn't have to wait for 11 balls to win a game and then you store that on the database. I just wanted it to be very simple, where every time you hit the pedal, it increments a score. But I do realize now that like it really depends on how good the AI is, right? So if you have a really lousy AI, you could be playing very well, but if the AI misses the third ball, you only get a max score of 3. Whereas if you're playing like a super tough AI, and then you get a score of 10, and and you play very poorly, but then you get a score of 10 because the AI did manage to return those balls. So it wasn't the best design. I should have thought about that better. Okay, so let's try this. It fixed my init SQL. So let's see, Pong init. Did it fix it here? Cool. All right, I'm just going to do this. So what I'm going to do is just hop over to this one. Go to SQL editor. I think what I need to do is actually, I don't think this is even going to work. It didn't change anything, did it? It didn't actually change anything. I'm surprised it actually says. All right, that's fine. Oh, maybe I didn't run it. It could be that I didn't run it just now. Okay, so that works this time. And game over. Did it send the score? I'm able to confirm that. Let's take a look. So game sessions, Pong high scores. Oh yeah, cool. All right, so it did fix it. So I don't know why. Maybe because I just didn't run the SQL the last time, which is my mistake. So you can see here, Agile. I'm gonna scroll to. So Agile Tiger Guardian is my username, and then it actually did show it here. So I got a score of 0, which is terrible. Let's try to at least get a higher score. Okay, so let's see if that go. Okay, great. So I should have a best score of 1 now. So let's refresh this page. On the right, I have a score of 1, and then Pong high scores. There you go, Pong high scores. There we go. I don't know whether that's actually the correct way it should be, but anyway, so let's implement this one way to find out. Let's implement the high button to show high scores from the database. And let's see if this actually works. Yeah, so so it's going to create a new scene, which is cool, and then it's going to use the score service to pull it. So I actually think that this should work quite well. So it's going to create an interface here. Great, very nice. So where's the score.ts? So it's going to create score.ts. Okay, so interesting. I don't know whether this is actually what I wanted it to do, because actually there should be sufficient functionality that exists within the existing code base for it to show high scores, I think. But that's fine. Let's see where it gets, right? So it's gonna link this button up, which is currently not really linked up. So let's see it. Let's go to high scores. Okay, cool. All right. So the cool thing is that it actually is showing the high scores now. So though there is an issue with this, and the reason is that I actually haven't tested the backend generalizability. So I did it very quickly with the aim of just getting something so that I could do this next game series and demonstrate it going into the backend a little bit more. So it's not working exactly. So what it should really show is that for each player, it shows it shows the player's best ever score in the high scoreboard. But it's fine. I mean, this is, like I said, I did this very quickly. Didn't have time to really even test it once. So the fact that it even works here is actually pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, so far, we've actually managed to get to a pretty good state. Not within 12 minutes for the whole thing, but I think the core of the game and the workflow using DeepSeek and using Claude for implementation hopefully was helpful. And the next time I will test the backend part a little bit more, and hopefully then, we kind of get it for free. The other thing that I just noticed here is that when the ball hits the top of the pedal, you get this like infinite scoring. Well, I mean, like depending on where it bounces, and we should probably fix that as well. But hope you enjoyed this episode with the extra bonus material of me kind of like debugging, polishing up that last few bits, and then doing the bonus material, which is the Supabase integration showing up with what I had. We were able to get it onto Supabase and then get the high score screen that you see here. All right, and there you have it, guys. We were able to get to the game of Pong. We actually looked into how we could use DeepSeek to create the game design document for us. We edited it a little bit, and then we actually used DeepSeek once again to create an implementation plan based on the code base. And I think it did pretty well, because as you saw, when Claude began implementing the game, it actually utilized a lot of the existing framework as much as possible. Towards the end, we saw a little bit of where it diverged from there, and we did spend a bit of time debugging the backend code. But I think overall, it was a very useful experiment to see how this workflow works. We were able to get most of the core functionality by the 12-minute mark, just about. I really hope that you found this episode interesting. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please leave a comment. If you liked this video, if you found it enjoyable, informative, or in any way useful, do give a like, and I would really appreciate if you could subscribe because it helps me to see what the overall interest is. And if you've got any other suggestions on any future episodes or other videos or other games that I could, do let me know. Alright, see you next week.